Good evening, everyone. To steal a phrase from Jacob Barry, we are back. So, I know we had a little bit of a hiatus there, so we're gonna do probably a little bit more of an inclusive recap than the rest, the previous ones. Instead of a last time on DBZ, we're gonna do more of a last time in the whole Soulbound campaign, sort of starting from the beginning. I'm going to let the players kind of give it from their perspective, so if you guys kind of want to catch folks up what's going on, and I'll add in little blurbs and details as we go, that way we have like a sort of coaching each other back up to speed, because we have missed about a month or so.
Is this just last adventure, or are we talking like...
Well, give the zoomed out, what's going on in the campaign, and then be specific with like the sort of last adventure, because all I remember is weird popcorn ritual, really.
Sure, that was the critical thing to remember.
I mean, that really, yeah. I mean, that was the main beat, right? If you got to remember one.
I mean,
I would have died lying to my party if that didn't pull that off. So,
large scale campaign. Okay, here you go. Big high overview. There's a big bad evil guy. His name is Nihilus. He doesn't worship any gods, but he steals all the power from all of them. He's called together heroes and villains from across the races of the mortal realms and the realms themselves, and bent them to his ultimate will in defiance of all things, showing that the power of nihilism, and that in fact anti-belief, is the only way to go forward. Opposing him are, of course, 4 ragtag, Island of Misfit Toys heroes, our current Soulbound group, who seeks to show this ne'er-do-well that in fact the mortal realms do run on belief in gods that matter, and are righteous, and are just, and then whatever the heck the 3 of these people believe, who isn't it, Sigmar. But the point of it all is, we're here to show him what's up. After defeating a couple of his initial schemes through a cult that he had formed, and now that cult is mutated, we found an island, we broke that up, fought a big robot dwarf, lots of fun things, encountered him for the first time on the island, where we were saved by our own ally, who has a magical little flying illusion ship, who got us out of there. And then we got back here. We went into the underworld, the sewers under Anvilgard, because we're in Anvilgard, that's where we're operating out of. We met Myriad, who's now an NPC in the party. He's a fun OBR guy who has a lot of souls in him and stuff. And then we got down underground, found where the people were being kidnapped to the underwater city from Futurama. Underground city from Futurama. And we busted up a fake playhouse and beat another sub-boss of that. And have now returned to the surface with the intention of finding the real playhouse that is behind all of this, as they seem to be mocking up for a big move in Anvilgard itself.
Dun dun dun.
All right. Any details y'all want to like add in there? Any spin? Nice recap. Good quick. Ranga says really appreciate it. The recap is greatly appreciated. I only caught the first 2 episodes. So
there you go.
God is Dad, Fred Nietzsche Zinch. Thank you. Yeah, so we're in Anvilgard, as mentioned. Anvilgard, of course, is the sort of like jungle port city, right? It's pirates and stuff. Sorry, don't call them pirates. Corsairs sort of run they have a literal pirate council that runs the city. They're not. I don't feel like they're trying to hide it. Anvilgard, it's this jungle city. There's these like this sort of like permanent mist that's there because every day they have these like teams that come through with these like contraptions that spray all the plant life, because if they ever don't spray it, it'll just like overtake the whole city, because it's just in this living constant jungle. They've got a little bit of steampunk vibe, and of note there is this Court of Knaves, which is their globe theater. This is interplanarly known. This isn't just one of the premier playhouses of Akshi. It's one of the premier playhouses of all the realms. So it's kind of a big deal. The play that's supposed to be going on coming up here is called The Guns of Blistaback, which recounts a epic battle between the orc pirates of the area and essentially like the Corsairs and the Stormcast, in fact, who settled and took and kind of like carved out a place for everyone to live. So that's sort of like this like weird silly play thing that's going on. The party finds themselves standing outside of this Court of Knaves, which has like sort of it almost is a castle unto itself, the way it's set up, with a sort of like an entertainment venue that like is outside and before it, that you would walk through and walk past as you make your way to the very, very visible sort of domed roof of the building, off in the like just sort of off behind all the little street carts and sort of mini or makeshift plays with like street performances and like basic recounts, and it's sort of like combines this odd vaudevillian like circus type thing going on in the outside with this very Age of Sigmar-y take on like a Shakespeare Globe Theater. So you have like this little awesome cross section of the perfect kind of mythic weird that I personally enjoy. It is the Guns of Blisterback doesn't play today, but the party figured they'd kind of get a lay of it. The theater itself is closed down, and it's not like this is particularly rampant with people currently, because it's sort of an off day. There's not a bunch of performances, but you can see where they might be with this little sort of like this little like sort of like mini theater town on the outsides. Standing before the actual Court of Knaves itself, the little makeshift theater below is not even a caricature. It just completely pales in comparison. The stage itself might have been an appropriate footprint, is about the gist of about the difference, so, or about what would have worked. So
you're saying the one that was in the Undercity?
The Undercity stage, like the stage itself might have been like the right footprint for something, but I mean beyond that, the mockery below doesn't even come close. It's not even satire. It was a crap, for lack of a better word.
Huh. I thought it would be bigger.
I mean, the Undercity people tried. Let's not be,
Right. You work with what you got.
Yeah.
So, we going in, or what? I mean, I feel like whatever they were planning, we can probably find something. So let's go check it out.
Sounds good.
Is there a front door to this place?
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, you're
gonna walk to the front door.
Yeah, you walk forward, and then you essentially have like this I'd call it more of a cosmetic wall. I mean, it's the right height, and it's made of stone stuffs, but this is not a fortification. This is to give the appearance of opulence or whatever. It's well decorated. Usually there's like a banner, a great big cloth banner tapestry hung that says Guns of Blisterback and in the common tongue, and it's got like just a little silhouette of like an orc on one side and a dwarf on the other.
Okay.
And the sort of
in the front door.
Yeah, so the great wooden doors are there. You walk up to them and you kind of push up against these doors that kind of span up, grand entrance type thing, and they don't budge. You kind of
Are they locked or just like magically sealed?
probably locked.
Or just heavy.
Yeah, I mean you feel them give, and like it's just there's like something on the other side, like a deadbolt or a plank or something keeping it shut.
Okay.
And then beyond this wall would be this sort of actual like amphitheater where like you'd walk downstairs and you'd go down, and then you'd have the stage out in front and the big dome.
This is a closed building, though, right?
The wall actually closes off a rather outdoor, pseudo outdoor structure. It's like a band shell with a sort of like a structure around it, that like tarps and stuff that would give it some closure if they're on a rainy day or protect you from some of the elements. But it's actually
So
an
can we just go over the wall?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more of like
Somebody boost me up.
It's like a walled pavilion, kind of.
Yeah, I mean it's a more amphitheater style. If you've ever been to some of the classier permanent like outdoor theater structures, like in at Summerfest in Milwaukee, they have like the BMO Harris Pavilion is like.
Oh yeah, like Red Rock and stuff like that.
Yeah, where it's pseudo outdoors, it's permanent structure, but then like it's open air once you get inside beyond the sort of barricades. So
Okay.
that's kind of what you got going on. You boost up over the wall, land on the other side, and you have essentially like bleacher style seating going down in rows, and a great big fan out in front of this stage.
All right. So I think they're probably planning something like either above or below the stage, right? That would make sense. Like some kind of big thing to happen. So why don't we go down and check that out
Maybe worth interviewing the actors.
if they're around? Might not be anybody here. But sure, we can see if they're evil too.
It's easier when they're evil.
Agreed. I like it best when the people who are trying to do this stuff are just honest about their intentions. It makes it much easier.
I like that, like most of the villains do, just tend to like just talk straightforward to you.
We
should
encourage that.
it should be noted that after a brief moment of concentration, Myriad just walks through the wall. He kind of goes like pseudo ghostly, and then he's just like out the other side.
I always thought that guy wasn't all here.
Solid or not. Anyways, all right. Well, we'll head down and check out the stage.
Yeah. You
Working behind curtains and ropes and stagehands anywhere.
Yeah. So you get there. The stage. I mean, this is premiere. I mean, this is the top of the line. The geography of it is perfectly crafted so that sound projects like it is itself a speaker. It's actually sort of a marvel to behold of engineering. Dwarves have thrown their hands in, some elven intellect and magics. Like they all came together to make this thing just the coolest thing it could possibly be. And the Court of Knaves, you kind of get this kingly sense with this sort of mini community and the partitioned walls, and you can almost imagine the little street carts being like a moat of sorts, stopping you from making your way to there, lifting you of a few of your drops on the way, type thing, to sell you candied corn and candied balls of corn on sticks and weird all manner of like interesting treats. And you're here and taking it in. There are familiar, like, sort of machinery, much better construction, not as crude as what you saw in the Undercity. Around, like, they've got the various, like, mechanisms to pull the curtains, lower some trap doors, and the stage itself can rotate a couple different ways. So you can see the sort of, like, cutout of the line where, like, at the center, like, one section would rotate, whilst, like, an outer ring can still rotate and stuff like that. You see a very sort of dead center, that sort of, like, central circle, and sort of surrounding area that portion is the footprint that you recognize from down below.
Gotcha. All right. Well, yeah, hunt around on the stage. Look for, like, yeah, I mean, you said, I think...
We'll poke around.
Yeah, exactly. I think Lanissa said she's searching the curtains. I'll look for a way under the stage. Like, there's got to be some way to get under there.
All right, so there's a couple ways. You have, like, sort of the backstage area you can see sort of readily. The curtains at this point are closed, so you kind of, like, push through the curtains to get out here. You can see the little, like, various, like, entry points, just kind of the standard stage left, stage right, and then there's sort of a central, more hidden passage in this sort of black backdrop that you could get through. Most notably and easily, though, at the very, very front of the stage, and quite well concealed from the theater side, or from the sort of viewer audience side, there's actually a big trench right in front of the stage, and there's sort of a false, like, plane. You can just walk in front of the stage perfectly concealed. So this would be where you could, like, hide folks for effects and, musician noises and stuff like that. You can actually just walk right in front of the stage, and that's the easiest, most direct access to get under.
I'll hop down.
All right. So you hop down. You've got a basic corridor, again, stage left, stage right, and a couple little, like, entry points to go underneath. You can actually see the mechanism, completely automated, that actually does these the rotations of the stage, and roll your... It is not investigation. I'm going to need to reacclimate to this rule system.
Sure.
Awareness, I believe.
Sure. Okay. I can do that. 3 successes. Assuming I'm going a DC 4.
Yep.
And I can see in the dark. It's dark down here.
It is rather dim, especially since it's not in an active mode. None of the sort of like gas lamps or anything like that are lit. So it is dark, but you make it all out decently.
You guys see anything up there? I'm gonna check down here.
I'm gonna poke around on stage.
Okay. Y'all upstage were on the stage itself. Roll awarenesses as well.
Lanissa has 2 successes.
2 from Lanissa. Rerolling ones asks Chuck, "Can you trash people again?"
I can try.
I'm sure it's only a matter of time.
I had 0 successes.
Okay. Bigwinter.
Everybody is like specifically searching. I'm going to be scanning the area to make sure everybody is like we're the only ones here. In other words,
All right.
I'm observing the observers, I guess. Is that an awareness as well?
Yep.
One success.
You think you spot somebody sort of like off on the sort of rear sort of stage side, but before that we cut down below stage. Skig, you've sort of made your way through this like sort of network of like scaffolding type structure, support structures. You can catch various levers along the way that must do certain things on the stage, but
I do not randomly pull them against my best, against my inner desires.
You notice in particular as you make your way towards like sort of the center where this like central mechanism is. Now it needs to be noted that you can't actually go directly under center stage. This is where most of the gear works are. And this is where you find yourself as sort of before these like gear works, and with your keen eyesight in the dark and your great amount of successes, you catch some familiar claw marks on them. Subtle, barely perceptible, but you see them. Plain as day.
Okay, on the gears?
On the gears and in that area. Like, almost as if something has been, like, sort of, like, brachiating its way through there and doing some stuff. They're not new. They're older. They've faded a little bit. You can see the little flecks of, like, oxidization around them and stuff.
Okay. So it doesn't look like recent sabotage. It looks like something that happened a long time ago.
Not that long ago. Like a week, 2, 3.
Okay.
But it's not there. It's not like something ran away from you and like scuffed it up. This has had time to dust over or whatever.
Okay. I will examine further.
All right. You kind of lean in there and get in there closer.
Yeah, I mean, like I assume I can scamper in between the gears.
Yeah, you easily move between. I mean, you're Skaven. You're pseudo quadrupedal even, and so you just really and you've grown up your whole life being able to scamper through little tiny crouch spaces. This is quite roomy to you, in fact, squeezing between the cogs.
This is bigger than my first apartment.
So you kind of doing just kind of piggybacking off of the initial awareness. You get a more closer look. You can tell. I mean, it's obvious handiwork to you. I mean, you don't know the specifics of it because you weren't necessarily an engineer or anything like that. But this is Skaven have been here, and being a Skaven, uniquely equipped to spot your own handiwork, or your own sort's handiwork. Like this is like clear Skaven sabotage. All of the sort of trademarks of it. You can see the sort of these trace claw marks and stuff like that. Some of the machining has actually been swapped out. Very good like a very good job of like sort of matching it to print, but it's clearly not the same materials. It's clearly like got that sort of Skaven panache to it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Does it seem like it's supposed to break down? Like what they've done is rig it to fail and break down and injure somebody? Or does it seem like there is a different purpose to it?
Different purpose. You can even smell like the like it's like our olfactory sense is one of our best memories. Like you like instantly are taken back like through a journey of memory when you catch that whiff of warpstone.
Okay. So it's a rotating gear circular thing in the center of the stage?
So you have a center stage can rotate around, and you have like sort of machine works that operate this elaborate mechanism so that you can have like the center portion of the stage turn and then like the sort of outer ring turn opposite ways. And it would be pretty grand and take up a good intricate amount of space underneath here. You've got some corridors working around it, and then you sort of have on the flanks where you can completely avoid the machinery to get backstage and do this. You know, if you have to have people have puppets or swap in and out props and backdrops, they can actually pull that under from the various positions. At the very, very center is this heart, this machine.
Okay. So it's been changed. Like when I look, I assume some like individual cogs or gears have been changed that would change like the rotational speed or exactly what moved when. Is it that kind of thing that's been altered? Here's what I'm trying to get at. The initial, the slam dunk easy thing here is it's been altered for purposes of invoking like some kind of ritualistic nonsense.
Yes.
Okay? Like, so certain cogs are switched out, moves the right speed. This is done so then when the other things happen upstage, all these pieces will move and rotate at the right time, and the actors will accidentally complete a magical ritual that will summon something or do something.
Closer to that. Yeah, close to that. This is not it's going to collapse it and a bunch of people are going to die. This is very Skaven-y. You think teleportation might be involved. We'll just put it that way.
Sure, there we go. Okay, got it. Crack the case. All right, so with that in mind, like obviously this is only part of it. So this would rotate the other things about that are up on the stage, right?
Yeah. I mean, you're fairly certain that it's going to pull in some other stuff down below too, though. Like you know for
I will clamber out of the mechanism and then go explore everything down here and I'll shut up because I've been talking too much.
Yeah,
I'll let
so
other people we'll
cut. Well, you're exploring, and it does take a while to kind of work your way through this and really kind of piece it all together. Upstage, Bigwinter, you've just sort of seen a wisp of a figure sort of darting off of your peripheral.
I follow the movement.
And I'm sorry, what did you get, Tom, on your awareness? Nada, zero, and
a big 0.
2 for Chuck. You'd have also noticed this. I'm sorry, Lanissa. You'd have also noticed this movement as well.
Also going to pursue.
Going to pursue. Right on. All right.
I'm not hearing Strength Hammer for some reason. Did he get muted?
No, you just got to talk louder, Chuck. You got to speak with authority.
Yeah.
Your mic to start picking you up.
I mean, we're on a theater stage. You have to project, talk from your chest.
Yeah, you speak from the diaphragm.
Okay.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, you're not loud. It's fine.
Anyway, I follow the movement.
All right. Heading back. Would be heading sort of not so much. You're heading sort of back between the curtains, but it doesn't like veer towards the backstage. It actually kind of veers out into like the audience type area. Unfortunately, it's quite exposed in the audience type area, and you see one of these individuals in this familiar sort of like deep sort of faded burgundy coat.
How are you?
I would imagine you just kind of cut this person off.
Yeah. Just saying hello. Seeing what they're here for.
You're not the casting director. They say, and like this, there's this sort of thin like a mustache of like a young 20s who can't quite grow in like full proper facial hair, but really is trying, and just like, you're not the casting director.
No, I'm the intermission entertainment. Who are you? I'm looking for the casting director myself.
Gustav? Gustavrio?
Gustav. I would like to use my contortionist ability to just kind of like bend backwards through my leg and then reach up and shake his hand. In the most entertaining way I could possibly imagine.
Contortionists weird me out. Like, this is full on, like,
Yep.
Tool music
Super.
video. Yeah.
I need to sell that I'm the intermission entertainment.
I lean towards the guy. I too am looking for the casting director for good reasons as well.
Well, maybe we could split up and look for them.
No, that never works out. Well, where were you headed, Gustav? Where haven't you looked at? Where were you going?
Well, I was just gonna check over here. He says, kind of like looking behind him.
Thank you for offering to show us around. We just got
Yeah.
here. You know this place
Yeah.
better than us.
We haven't looked there yet either, so it's very. We should all go there.
You sure?
After you're the leader.
Yeah, go ahead, Gustav. Meanwhile, I'm still like backwards between my
Ugh.
legs, and I'm like,
I can describe all the gore in the world, but this one creeps me out. like, just like
half walk this way.
full on like
for-
Ringu stuff's going on here. Like just the yeah. He gets to the point like you kind of like sort of ascending these stairs. You're approaching like sort of where you're nearing one of these the walls where then they have like some of these like sort of VIP boxes like kind of built out of them. Oh, there he is, like, and he does there he is and points and then just tries to run.
No.
I'm not even gonna have you guys roll dice. Just like
All right, I was about to roll, but yeah.
just Bigwinter like hand on the shoulder and just like
He's not up there.
I'm having difficulty
Unless he is.
where he in fact is. I like tell this guy.
yeah, I guess it was nothing, huh? So you gonna kill me now or what? He says, looking at the weird contorted witch elf.
Kill you.
The way you are acting makes me feel like you wish this to happen. It can be avoided.
Bigwinter, do you have a firm grasp of his hands?
It's kind of like the one mitt on the shoulder right now, but then it's
Yeah, I
also
got
kind of like
a mitt on the shoulder, so I could
Would you-
focus this guy at any moment.
Would you take a firm grasp of his hands, please?
Yes, they are indeed small.
I would like to search this person for any vials or needles or anything of the sort.
All right,
Nope.
I'm just gonna like hold him up. But
Yes. I frisk him down.
yeah, no vials. He's got like a saber, more of a dagger really. He's got like a dagger, you know, like a small pouch with like a couple drops in it, and has like a play brochure with like some words circled, and they look wrong from the one that you had. Like he didn't. You had some familiarity with this cipher and you know, the sort of hidden text. This person got it wrong and is in the wrong place, or at the right place at the wrong time.
Take the pamphlet and a dagger. I would like to we were up on a balcony, correct?
As you're just kind of in the middle of like where the audience would be, the sort of bleacher seating where the audience would be sat, heading towards the VIP box or one of the VIP boxes.
by he had it wrong, do you mean that the playbill that he has in his pocket is like for a different play than is supposed to be the next one?
No, it's he must have had the cipher wrong. He's just like missing the wrong time or date. Like he's just got the like you can see like written on there at what time, and it's you just know it to be wrong.
Okay, but it's still the cipher from the bad.
Well, it's the play brochure, and he theoretically used a secret decoder ring and just got it wrong.
Oh, okay.
You know, didn't carry the one or whatever.
I'll take his cheesy dagger and I'll kind of just throw it up on stage to try and get Fyrgrim's attention.
Fyrgrim, you've been like
What?
admiring one of the set pieces.
Sure.
Just deep in it.
like picking it up. Like I don't see any cultists under here.
No. No.
The dagger kind of skitters, and you kind of look off and back at like a weird angle, and you can see Lanissa and Bigwinter have one of these individuals in this sort of faded burgundy.
Yeah, looks like we're stealing his lunch money from afar, like just holding him up.
What do we have here?
Kind of like come walking up between the bleachers.
Yep.
Possibly a cultist guy got the
indeed.
cipher wrong.
Hand you the playbill. Fyrgrim, I mean.
What are you doing around here?
Casting director? He goes back to.
Not likely, son.
It's about this time that Skig kind of like comes out at, like from underneath the stage and like looks at the stage, doesn't see anyone, and then just like looks over here at this potentially brutal, potentially comedic scene unfolding off to the right.
I tell you, I'm like, okay. Looks like they got that summed up. They got one foppish guy, and there's three of them surrounding him. I don't think they need backup here. So I'm going to continue my hunt.
I wave at Sig, or Skig. Can you unburden this man before I unburden him of his internal organs?
Yeah, sure. I hop down onto the thing, walk over. So the bad guys are planning to use the mechanisms of the stage in some way with all the turny-whirly things up top to probably summon something in. I don't know, maybe like a big demon or something. Hard to say, but there's definitely some kind of summoning ritual. They altered the gears to change the timing and exact movements of things down under the stage.
After all of that elaborate description, my only response is, how big a demon?
I don't know, probably, yeah, hopefully a big one.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they went to a lot of trouble for kind of nothing. So, what's your name?
Gustav?
Gustav.
Rio?
All
Gustav
right,
Rio?
great to meet you. So, are you here for cult activities?
No?
I'll take that as a yes. Okay, great. See, non-cultists, when you ask that question, say, what? Because they don't know there's a cult. It's very... You understand how that goes, Gustav? So you failed the first test right away.
Gustav Rio. He says he kind of corrects you with it.
Right, so Gustav, look, here's what's going to happen, okay? I can tell that your whole heart isn't into this evil activity, and that there's still a chance for you to be saved. So, we're going to help you. We're going to help you find the path, the light that is Sigmar, okay? We're wandering astray here, Gustav, by coming down here at this time. But that's okay, and I take the symbol of Sigmar in my hand, and I reach out, and I'll just, like, put my hand over his heart, and I'm like, Gustav, I think you should unburden yourself. Tell us what you really need. And so let's do that. So obviously he opposes this with his
I mean, he's clearly weak-willed.
Sure. He opposes this with his soul determination.
Ooh, 1.
Cool. A lot more than that. So 5 for me. So I get to ask him 4 questions, which he must answer truthfully, and he's happy about this whole exchange afterward. So first I ask him... by the way, if you guys have questions you want me to ask, feel free to tell me. I'll sound off here first while you're thinking. So, Gustav, why,
My name's not even Gustav, he says. That's a lie. It's just like...
I understand.
Knew it.
So, why do you want to join?
Too unlikely that both him and the casting director would have the same name.
Yeah, seems crazy. So, why do you want to join the cult, Gustav?
I don't want to join the cult, I want to join the syndicate, he says.
Oh, okay. Good information.
He's like, I mean, I guess
Keep
I don't...
going.
I guess I don't understand the, like, you know, how, the organization 100%, but, like, I have a particular set of skill sets, and no, that's a lie, too. I don't really have any good skills, so I thought crime would be easy.
I understand. Down on your luck. Hard times in Anvilgard. You thought pursuing the life of a heretic, of a criminal, of one who feeds off the underbelly of civilization would be better. But Gustav...
It's easier than the docks, he says.
You were wrong about that.
No,
So
he's got a point.
Oh, I don't mean about the docks. Yeah, he's definitely right there. You're right on that.
All right.
It's a good point. No, you're right.
Crime over docs. Crime over docs.
We
Yeah,
cut
that would
to,
be.
we cut to somebody being eaten by, like, a Charybdis on the docks as they're, like, trying to, like, transport it. Like, cut back.
So you haven't met with anybody from the syndicate yet at this time?
A couple, but nobody important, he says. Enough to... I mean, you're supposed to figure the thing out, he says, and... I guess I didn't. It's kind of like the part of the recruitment, I guess. If you can figure it out, then, you know, you're one of them. I know I forgot to carry the 1, he says.
Well, I can see that you are a low-skilled individual, Gustav, and that's all right. There are those who are weak in this world, but that is okay. That is all right. Sigmar still extends his light to them, all the same as anyone else, as the strong. The God King is beneficent. And just because you are a weak person who is not capable of much does not mean that you cannot be saved. So, Gustav, anything else you'd like to unburden yourself with about this syndicate? Anything else you know? Who did you speak to or contact, for example?
Yeah,
that would be a good place.
He's like, it's Greg! It's Greg, but it doesn't sound intimidating when you hold someone at knife point. Gustav made me sound dashing. Gustavrio.
I lean in. Gustav, if you want that to be your name, then it's your name. You can be Gustav.
He looks up.
That's part of the lesson here. You can shape yourself and be who you want to be in the God King's light. If you wish to be Gustav, servant of Sigmar, that is who you can be. Gustavrio. Whatever you like. Feels like an extra syllable, but that's fine.
He's like, he's like, there's just been, it's like, I guess at first, like, no one important, like I said, but, I mean, you hear whispers, and, you know, one cut purse leads to, a flyer ending up in your pocket, he says, and from there, you just, kind of the right places to hang out until you see something, or someone sees you. He's like, it's really not, like, as complicated maybe as I'm making it sound. He's like, but I mean, crime tends to find crime. It's and yeah, I got the flyer from this, he's like, I got this I mean, I just heard a word at a couple of the places I hang out, and he just named some dregs. And, there's words about this, if you find a cipher, and, if you're interested in joining the Crimson Water Company, the initiation starts here. And by here, I mean at the dregs. And man, I fucked up.
Nope. In fact, Gustavrio, don't worry. You did not. You did no such thing. Your failure to carry the one is an important point in your life. I want you to look at this as not a moment of failure, but as a moment of change. This is it, Gustavrio. You'll look back on this day forever from now as the point when your life turned around. As the point when you found the truth, when you found the light, when you finally saw that you could be something more than just Greg, the cut-purse criminal, and you could instead be Gustavrio, the Corsair of Sigmar.
Or the sacrifice to Cain.
And that would be the other
Always-
option if you don't
Always
take
an
the right
option.
hand.
Always an option.
Probably also the lunch of Bigwinter. These are all options that are on the table for you.
That's a 2-for-1 right there.
He points at the dwarf, and I mean, something special.
I
Nah,
just shake
it-
my head no.
Nah, he'd just burn you to death.
Huh.
You'd just be Greg the pile of ash. It's not as exciting, probably. At any rate,
Myriad
Well-
just like looks at one of the one of his phylacteries, and he's just like, wouldn't even be fit for soul stuffs.
now not worth it, Myriad. Okay, so Gustavrio, here's what I want you to do. Okay, here's what you're gonna do for me. Because we're gonna save you here, Gustavrio. First thing I want you to do is I do want you to head down to the docks. You're gonna find a particular captain. His name is Avendir. Okay? You're gonna tell him that we sent you. Skig, Bigwinter, specifically Lanissa. They seem to have a thing going on. So, tell him that we sent you and that we would like him to give you work. And he'll get you good work. I'm not going to say it's safe. And it's not the most righteous thing. But it's better. It means we don't have to kill you right now. And, on the bright side, there's lots of room for advancement in that crew. You get to be a hero sometimes. Save people. Do fun stuff. Transport wild and exotic monsters. Sounds exciting, right?
No, that sounds much better than being a pile of ash.
I thought so. Well, seems like you've got a new direction in your life. As I said, this is the moment where everything turns around for you, Gustavrio. So, bye-bye, Greg the Failure. Hello, Gustavrio, Corsair of Sigmar.
I'm gonna go ahead and roll a die here. Okay, all right. Gustavrio is on his path. We'll check
Sure.
back in with him later in the campaign.
Absolutely.
Gustavrio, like, he takes off. You see him dramatically kind of like taking the coat off and like throwing it aside as he kind of rushes up over the wall.
I will take that coat.
Okay. Yeah, it's a little musty and
Just-
yeah.
I'll just drape it over my shoulders for right now.
Okay.
Sure. Well, good find. Was he hiding around up here?
Yeah, it was moving about.
What time are they supposed to meet?
I mean, you guys never quite figured out the or did you figure it out? I'm sorry, we hand waved the sort of last section of the last adventure just to finish. Did you figure out the cipher or not? I don't remember.
I have no idea.
I don't
Yeah,
think you
I
did.
mean-
I don't think you did. I don't think you
Okay.
did.
Gotcha.
I mean, you know that they're using coded pamphlets and brochures. I mean, your even mind even casts back to like even the initial like pamphlets like to meet at the that first sort of like dock meeting in the
Yep.
random warehouse. There was probably coded messages even in those back then. It's possible that that this guild of whatever they are didn't just appear out of nowhere, and maybe the cult was the front and these guys were the real deal, or vice versa. But you're
Sure.
fairly, your mind harkens back to those initial pamphlets, and you're like, okay, they've been doing this a little while.
All right. Well, like I said, there's some kind of evil ritual. Fyrgrim, you're an arcanist. You want to figure this out?
Sure, I'll take a look. I'll look around, see what I can tell.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll kind of point out whatever I saw and where I think pieces would be he should look at.
Yeah. So this is just a actual like arcane, I believe, is the skill.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what?
Good old arcana.
Looking for 4s.
We're gonna go with 5s on this one, unless you
Okay.
have an advantage somehow, but I don't believe so.
Nope. 0 successes.
I mean, it's Skaven tech, so it's. I mean,
It's weird.
It's bizarre. I mean, Skig identifies it just out of sheer familiarity, but can't put together what all the components necessarily are. And for you, as a dwarf, you're like, that's not how I'd have done it. This is all backwards. You know, like
All of it.
So.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I don't have any training in Arcana. This is outside of my realm. So I'm not going to be able to tell the exact magic ritual they're trying to do or what they're going to summon. Can we determine any part of, like, what the pieces are connected to? You know what I'm saying? Can we determine, like, what are the relevant pieces of what's going to move here and do its doodads?
I mean, yeah, like
versus what's not.
In a basic sort of engineering sense, you have an idea that A, B, C, these need to be connected here, there, and there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they really do seem pretty well integrated into just this basic, like, you go over there, you hit the thing, and then it's going to move so that the stage starts rotating at certain speeds and paces and stuff like that. What you notice kind of all being here gathered together is that you actually see... I'm just going to give this one to you. You actually see some sort of, like trap doors that are recently dug, relatively well concealed, but you know what you're kind of looking for based on the Undercity from before and those scaffoldings. You can see some hatches that kind of lead into the Undercity from a couple like concealed points, just under the stage and kind of off this center mass, like not even near the machinery, like. But just now that you're all exploring together, you're like, oh, they've got a couple hatched doors here so that they can put their stage hands in, and now that scaffolding coming up makes a little bit more sense.
Gotcha. So they could have climbed up the scaffolding to get up to these little access tunnels to get up here and access the stage itself.
Yeah.
The understage.
Yeah.
Do we know how long we have until the show hits the road?
It's a couple days. Like, you essentially have the meeting coming up, like, we'll say, tonight, and you wanted to take a look at the stage. The show is tomorrow. Like, the debut for the weekend, because they'd have, they'll have,
we could come back with some sort of expert, I suppose, and look at this stuff and untrap it.
Good.
Probably.
Yep. That's probably a good first thing
idea.
to do.
Just a big metal pole.
Just shove it in here.
That's the other option. If we can't find anybody who knows what it's all about, then we can just break it.
Okay. Plan
That's
B.
easy enough.
Yep.
Yeah, plan B is just break the thing. If we just destroy all the mechanisms under there so it doesn't work anymore, then feels like it's going to be not effective.
Yeah. Do we want to find such a person now or explore these trapdoors?
You know what...
Oh,
go ahead. No. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think the trapdoors just go back down into the Undercity, into that scaffolding that was down there, so they probably connect. I mean, we can, pop it open and look. I assume if I look down there, I just see, through the darkness, I eventually see a little bit of scaffolding down at the bottom.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yep, that's what it is.
All right, let's find an expert.
Okay, who knows a wizard? Besides you. I look at Fyrgrim. We all know one wizard. Do we know a second wizard?
Myriad holds up their hand.
Oh, hi, Myriad. Are you a wizard?
Or one of those guys in you a wizard?
We're familiar with the Amethyst Wind.
Well, I don't know. You want to take a look at this and see if you can figure anything out?
Looks at it briefly. We ain't got shit.
Gotcha. Well, that's fine. No, totally fair.
Whatever.
So what do we need? Somebody who knows chaos magic? That's going to be hard to come by.
Yeah, or at least magic plus engineering at the same time.
Well, we can always go ask around.
You know, two of the people that are probably the most connected that we know of are probably Oria Runeheart and Avender, if half of his swagger is to be believed.
Sure. I mean, we could always go ask the Stormcast if she knows. Doesn't she have a friend who's a knight incantor?
Yeah,
Or something like that?
she is a knight incantor, possibly.
Aurea is more on the huntress side of the spectrum, like the Vanguard wing type thing. There was the tavern keep or whatever, who's just kind of been waiting in the city. She probably knows somebody, or might even herself be a knight incantor.
Yeah, we could always ask.
Ringard. Yeah.
Yeah, that's who I was talking about. Yeah.
The big woman.
If she knows like a knight incantor, they have to have plenty of experience with chaos magic and summoning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's the play.
Okay. Well,
also, I mean, while we're there, we can, pick up a meal.
Good point.
Before we leave, Lanissa will jump up on stage, and
an hour.
I'm gonna put 3 just small marks with my dagger at the point where the center stage and the outer stage will rotate, just through it, just to see if this moves while we're gone.
Okay.
Oh, good one.
Yeah, so you have like the little points on either side to make sure that they stay lined up.
Yeah, like 3 points, just...
Okay. No, it's a great idea.
Nothing big, just a little bit.
No.
Is this place we're in, is this like fully outdoors such that it's like whatever, pea gravel or dirt floor, or is this like a constructed floor with like wood and stuff?
I mean, it's super impressive, so it would have like cobbled stone, and it's well made, so it's like they might even have like poured concrete or something super advanced for the time.
So I don't need to like cover our tracks that we've been here because it's kind of like a cobblestone, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a permanent structure. It's it's outdoor for the effect, but it's got this canopy structure around it, and technically projecting your voice into the air. It's just a different theater vibe. Like think Ren Fair, it's the whole production. They have science magicked it to have like really great like acoustics, and it's just an outdoor band shell type thing. But so you have the open air ambience, but then you also have this sort of like the powers of architecture. All right, so you head back to the tavern. I don't remember the name of it. I lost my main notebook. I'll find it by next week.
The name of the tavern?
Mm-hmm.
The Bronze Dwarf or something?
The Brazen Steed. That's right.
Yeah.
You were in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Dwarves are much like horses.
Plentiful and everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a dwarf run. I would call it a gallop.
Mm-hmm. Mainly good for beasts of burden. Yep.
Is Mara busy? I mean, more than normal, I guess.
No, she's no. I mean, it's not like the busy hours are kind of like midday at this point. So it's pretty well cleared out. She's just kind of prepping for like what she assumes to be a rush from like when the dock workers get done. They're gonna come and hit it hard, and all the adventurers kind of pile. You have like a couple like ambient like adventurers that like buying stuff that are just kind of passing through Anvilgard or waiting for a ship. But for the most part, it's pretty empty.
Perfect. I'll take a medium rare lion steak, side salad, and a glass of your finest red wine.
I'll take 5 of that.
I'll take a dwarven ale and a bowl of gruel.
Of your finest gruel, please.
Have some cement in the bowl.
It's got like a light hint, like a hint of like cayenne and cinnamon. It's her finest gruel.
Sounds fantastic.
I am also in for the gruel. That sounds delicious. Any sort of pot of something she has is fine.
All right. She, it's on the house. She says as she lays out the kind of veritable feast before you, complete with like the Fred Flintstone like rib rack, in front of the ogre.
Aqua Garanis and just put it in like the little like
but I am pleased.
donation.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I say I take an Aqua Garanis and I put it in like the little donation help the children box she has by the cash register.
Right on. Yeah. I'm sorry. The rack is in addition to everything you ordered, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah. She's like had to push it. She says not many folk were ordering the pulled pork yesterday off, but when you got
fool.
Or pulled like Bronto, like Bronto boar or something, like whatever the weird Axian creature is.
Say, Mara, you're a retired Stormcast, yes?
She's not quite retired, she says. More waiting. And she just gives like a smile.
That's great to hear. Do you happen to have a knight incanter friend?
You're looking for Dame Tamia Seln. She's one of the she's one of the knight incanters of these parts. Knows on the scholarly side of it, I'd say.
We found a potential chaos cultist activity, and we need a specialist to determine how to ruin it.
Chaos, you say? And she's just like, she like hits like one of the floorboards with her foot, and a mace just like pops out, and she's like already got it over her shoulder.
Chaos.
Not like that immediate of a sense. We're probably fine.
Oh, and she just like puts it back. She's like, she yells like "Twab!" and like some like dishwasher comes out and fixes the board back and like makes sure the mechanism works.
We think someone's gonna summon something. Probably something big. Couple days. We need to figure out how to stop it.
Suggested taking a big metal pipe and just shoving it into the gears that are gonna move and do this.
I like where her head's at, she says. If it's chaos,
Cool.
It's in my experience best to destroy it than try to seek to understand it. But of course, you know what my role in battle happens. I'd imagine you can extrapolate what my role in battle tends to be. When I'm not serving the best gruel this side of Hish.
Yeah, the good kind of battle roll.
Smash now, ask questions later, she says. She's
Wait,
like,
ask.
This wouldn't be related to the 11th Dawn business, would it?
Kind of. It's related to a thing called the Syndicate, which may or may not be related to the 11th Dawn. One might be the other. They both might be the same. It's kind of hard to really tell exactly what's going on. There are bad guys somehow involved with Chaos who are going to use the big theater in the middle of town to summon something. That's the basic story.
Yeah, she just kind of yeah, you're going to want to talk to Tamia, she says.
That's right. Yeah, the Crimson Water Company. There you go. Thank you. Thank you, Lanissa.
Do you have some sort of item or code? I don't know Stormcast that well, honestly. You're the first one I've ever met. So that Tammy will like, what's a nice way of putting it, give a shit what we have to say there?
She's got like one of the like celestial hawks or whatever. She's like, just take smite with you, she says. And like,
plump.
Just take smite with you, she says, and she looks over at Lanissa. The hawk like perches on your shoulder.
I tried to pet the hawk.
Seems all right. A little disinterested, like. Um,
If everyone's finished eating, thank you for your help.
she makes sure that your
Where's
drinks.
this lady at, by the way?
She gives you directions to like sort of like the military quarter type area where like they coordinate with the Anvilgard kind of tends to itself, but they keep active Stormcast on hand because it's a city of Sigmar and so on and so forth. So there's essentially like some sort of like Stormcast military quarter where you're heading to.
Perfect.
You finish your meals. You had that way. We're kind of approaching like sort of the early evening. 4 p.m., 5 p.m. ish time, whatever the Akshian equivalent is. And you can see like the sort of like statues of Sigmar as you approach on like flanking either side of the sort of like a sort of like a almost a visible break point between the standard glum of Anvilgard and an attempt at a sort of like pseudo monastery, pseudo like military bunker to Sigmar as you approach. Your reputation precedes you a little bit at this point. You're an ogre, a witch elf, and a Skaven walk into a bar with a dwarf. Like it,
Weird.
like you've gained a bit of a reputation. You've been operating for a while. So like it's not like the Sigmar Guard are like, hey, they stop and give you crap. Like they know this particular configuration. We'll do the imposter episode later, where like you have to hunt down imposters that have been doing stuff, and it's just exactly one of you, and they're all just like they're doing, like the Wish, like ordered off of Wish versions of the party. But that'll be a different lazy adventure when I don't feel like writing a real adventure. Just like the people who write episodes that are lazy like that in shows. You just kind of like go through the formalities, and eventually you find yourself in a library of like decent of a decent extent, a decent sort. You see tomes and tomes sprawled out on shelves and little scroll cases arranged in these little little chambered sort of things with little tags on them, and you can go up and reach and pull out the thing. There's a lot of different art and a small sort of museum seems to sort of like separate the center before you filter out into like where all your various categories are, and there's just this big circular sort of desk at the center, and then beyond that the studies and the desks and a pretty awesome sort of wide fireplace decorated in all of Sigmarite opulence with like sweet celestial dragons and shit.
Sweet.
And Tamia Seln is essentially sitting reading a book, wearing the robes and plate of a proper incantor. Over there, helmet off, head pulled back into a tight ponytail, or hair pulled back into a tight ponytail. And she's got like a book, and she's like stirring a little like saucer of tea off to the side. Go ahead.
I will approach and bow very deeply before the Stormcast. This whole place is like amazing to Skig. His eyes are very wide as he walks around this like military encampment full of his heroes. So he comes up and bows very low, and I would imagine that the posture Skig would take would be as per what Skaven would normally do when faced with their betters. So, like, Skaven are naturally very hunched when they meet people who rank above them in the hierarchy. It's a very strict hierarchical society. You have to show deference at all points in time, so he's like that as well here. Hello, Dame Tamia, Knight Incantor?
The front desk is over there, she says, kind of like regarding her tome.
Oh, no, we brought the bird.
Smite. Pet Smite.
She like this goes on for a moment where she like has fully ignored you until she like finishes the page and then like closes the tome and like sets it down. Oh, Smite, hello. You must be Skig. She immediately like picks out the Skaven of Sigmar. And she has
You somehow see Skig's like little furry cheeks blush.
The painted the flesh tone, like the albino thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
You do. I think you do see some bit of a blush, and she just immediately like leans like into your like right just outside of uncomfortable of your face, and she's like, curious. I've never met.
You know what? I just go in for the kiss. I can sense the moment. You know?
She seems like it just like the muzzle of Skig on the cheek, and she just like pushes you like away and like
I don't really.
Oh,
that was just no, that's just a joke because it was that moment. You guys were describing her getting super.
No,
close.
this is like the she almost like you can almost imagine like her pulling out like an oculum like in like looking.
Sure.
I think she's like never seen a Skaven this close up that hasn't attacked her, and she is.
Yeah,
just...
no. In fact, Skig would be paralyzed right now. Like he's just sitting there, kind of like his whiskers are twitching.
This is the type of she just killed them from afar with bombardments of like electricity and just smashed like, and she's just like, she's like, I do sense the faith in you, which is the most peculiar part. And she's just like she becomes a pure scientist and just like is in observational mode. She seems oblivious to like other people in the party who try to like talk to her until she's like fully regarded Skig and like taken it.
I have the book.
She like picks up the book. By your own description, this is like your interpretation on like.
Correct.
She can't help herself. May I? She asks, and she like begins like fiddling with the like strap or whatever that keeps it the clasp. You know.
Yeah, it has a clasp on it. Yeah.
She's
yeah,
like,
that faith stuff is big useful.
She's just like. There's a for as curious and little like perhaps cold or dismissive as she seems to be, there doesn't seem to be any malice or ill will towards this. It's just utter like fascination, and like she even like sees some of the like Skig's interpretations of like Sigmar will and stuff like that, and just like kind of like gets a warm like sort of like smile and quite good, she says, and she like hands it back to you. We'll have to talk We'll have to talk sometime about your scriptures, she says.
Yep. Okay. Absolutely.
She's like, I think you've found one of the most important parts of following Sigmar, that he's different for all of us.
Yep, that's what I tell people. That's yep. I'm like elbowing Lanissa, like trying to get her to talk.
I've gotten bored. I've wandered away. I'm trying to teach Smite how to play fetch by just grabbing random objects and throwing them.
You're like a bunch of like like the bright mages or whatever. Devotees of Sigmar come running over and like they're trying to stop you from throwing things, and
yeah, it's just like woo.
This is a library. Like, this is a library. We must show respect for those here in the pursuit of knowledge and the word of Sigmar. Or pursuit of knowledge is more of a library than on the church side of things.
Does Smite fetch at all?
No, Smite just like perches off up on like a bookshelf and just starts pruning its feathers. Like completely uninterested.
I will befriend you, bird. I will befriend you.
Side quest unlocked. Like, go ahead.
So I go back, seeing Skig, kind of like going for where I was standing moments ago, and we were sent by Mara. We could use your help. There's a cult thing. It's engineering. It's magical. I just want to break it, but everyone else here wants to try to not break it first. So we got sent to you. We have the bird. He will be my friend. She will be my friend. Smite.
She shrugs.
I'll figure that out.
I'm not read on.
I'll figure it out.
I haven't read up on bird anatomy too much of late. She says knowledge is when you've been reforged a few times, I wonder how many of these books I've read, and how many times I've read them. And she looks around.
Well, can we take you to a theater where there may be a cultist summoning, so we can figure out what's going on before I just get impatient and break it? Skig would be very grateful if you would do this.
I'm sorry, I haven't. Skig, I know by reputation. It's a Skaven who worships Sigmar. The rest of you, I'm know perhaps by name, but how rude of me. Tamia is more than adequate for addressing me, and you are. And she looks at the ogre and the dwarf, and then back to you. And...
I'm Fyrgrim.
Yes.
Lanissa.
Yes, from one of a Canite, I assume. From your
I smile.
From your regalia.
I'm wearing a coat. I got a coat on.
It's like a coat over the murder bikini or whatever.
Coat. I have a coat over the cloak over the murder bikini. All right.
All right. Which makes you. I'm sorry. Big Nova.
Bigwinter.
Fjormar, Bigwinter. It's nice to meet another Stormcast. All you guys are big. I like that.
Oh, right. They're all 9 feet tall.
Yeah.
All right. So this contraption, please. And she goes and she finds where she had the tome that she had been reading, and she puts it carefully on the shelf and straightens the books around it again, and then she follows the party.
Me the bookshelf to get up to Smite before we leave. I don't want to leave the bird behind.
On her way on outside of the library, she kind of descends the sort of stairs, and she looks around the corner to where she's stashed her actual all of her weaponry, and she's got these the little her holy file grenade bomb things, and she grabs her equipment essentially.
Yeah, just in case.
And her staff is almost like a double-sided mace at this, with that sort of thick steel on either side with little studs along it, and then the only part of it is wood is the haft in the center, so it's equal parts staff and just complete bludgeoning instrument, steel bludgeoning instrument on either side. It has a technical term I can't recall the name of. This is where Myriad is kind of waiting outside of the Sigmar barracks. And she just kind of careens back at seeing this clearly undead thing, which she doesn't know by reputation. And at this point, some guards had since spotted him and been kind of walking over.
He's okay. He's with us. He's very nice. His name's Myriad.
All of the
filled with tinier men.
I'm filled with tinier men. The sort of mix of city guard and Stormcast, that sort of generic Stormcast with their little generic faceplates that have begun to gather around him. Look at the sort of ranking Stormcast, Tamia, and she just just kind of gestures for them to leave, and she doesn't regard Myriad with the same curiosity as a Skaven that worships Sigmar. There's a very obvious caution edge there, and Myriad looks to Skig. Have we aired?
Oh no, it's fine, Myriad. Just people don't see a lot of you around here. I went through the same thing. It's fine. Don't worry about it. People will come to know you after a little while once you're hanging out with us. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it seems like if you act good and kill the bad ones, they get used to you eventually.
You can practically see the thoughts bubbles emerging from Tamia's head as she's just staring at this Stormcast of Nagash, essentially, right? This mockery of Stormcast.
Yeah.
And she's probably never seen it. It looks certainly undead. It's got the visages of and stuff like that. But unlike anything she's directly seen, the Bone Reapers maybe aren't marching on this area at this point in time.
He was broken. We found him, and then we helped him. So he's been sort of stuck and broken for a long time, a really long time. But he's okay. He's very old.
He's
We find
not
our
exactly right in the head. I'm like whispering to. He's not exactly right in the head. It seems like there's a bunch of people in his head. It's a cursed existence, but you know.
When you say at the words "cursed existence," she sort of like you see some of the, you know, like sort of apprehension fade a bit from her face, and her sort of usual quizzical look kind of returns a little bit, and she's just sort of like, anyway, chaos contraption, she says.
Yep, this way.
Yep.
All right.
I put my hand on Myriad and I make sure he's okay. Like I kind of, you know, I pat him on the back a little and say like, "Don't worry, people are just scared of you because you're different, Myriad. But they'll get used to you.
But different is good.
Different is good."
Taps the gem on his chest.
I don't know what that means, but yes, different is good.
You head back to the Court of Knaves. At this point, there's a little bit more bustle as like folks are winding down at the quote unquote jobs. They're just the standard sort of like entertainment district stuff's going on outside. The theater itself is closed, but in no time, you know, Tamia it's a Stormcast. They just open doors, right? Like, in no time, she just like gestures to someone who looks like they work for the troop, and like they walk over, they open the doors, they go in through essentially like a concealed entrance off to the side and lift up the plank, and the doors open. You lead her under the stage. She has to hunch, as does Bigwinter.
Markings as well.
They've not moved.
Okay.
They've not moved. They have not moved.
Or they've gone all the way around,
Perfectly.
perfectly lining up.
Oh, Kicker was just asking about the OBR friend on the delay, and well, that's what happened. Myriad's not going to walk into that. Not
Yeah,
yet.
he didn't even ask us because like we were definitely not going to bring Myriad to the Stormcast temple.
Yeah. Myriad is with them now. Myriad stays on the outside of the stage, just kind of keeping watch, essentially, right at where like you would enter underneath it. Tammy and Skig, I'd imagine, are up by the gears and stuff, and she's just, you know, like she actually at one point pulls off her gauntlet and like, you know, touches some of the markings, and she goes, "Warpstone," and she like smells it.
Yeah, it was definitely some kind of Skaven sabotage. We know that these people have been working with Skaven. There's specifically probably my old Claw Lord is involved somehow, but I don't know. Anyways, he has a lot of Night Runners at his disposal.
It's like we knew Anvilgard was, for lack of a better term, dicey. She's like, I need a moment. And then she just like investigates. She casts some. You see her cast some like spells, like hold her hand over like some objects, and at one point she actually pulls the tome that's chained to her belt loop off and like begins paging through it. You were raising yes, Lanissa?
I'm gonna go find a pipe just for Plan B. I'm feeling Plan B. Just gonna be ready. So I'll be out there.
I mean, Tamia's staff is almost perfect, accidentally perfect for exactly what you're looking for. Otherwise, Myriad's got the sort of like the scythe that he carries with him, and he's just like when you're looking at pipes, he just like a naive robot just like goes to hand you his scythe when he sees that you're like picking up pipes and like this one's not good enough, and he's like, "Would this work?" And he like holds it forward.
Sure.
You're no. Good idea, but I don't want you to lose that.
And he starts he starts like rifling through stuff with you and like holding up like just the wrong objects and regarding them like.
He finds an apple in a pile of pipes and
Yeah,
it's, like
no.
it's a baby Groot situation.
Yeah, exactly.
We give her time to look over everything.
Yeah. I mean, after a while, I mean, she thoroughly investigates it. Just shy of about an hour of really going through it.
I'll be back to my watching, while she's doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I won't pretend
the area, stuff like that.
Roll an awareness, and then also Fyrgrim, you can as well.
2 success.
1 success.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and combine them. Yeah. You had 4 or 3?
3 between the two of us.
All right, we'll get back to you guys in a second. Pardon me. Tamia sort of like walks Skig outside, sort of putting distance between herself and the device. I won't pretend to fully understand Skaven technology, but the chaos magics, I mean, this is... I've encountered something like this only a handful of times. I think they aim to summon in a... Well, and she looks around the area. Probably about this size, she says. And not a... it would be the most intense novel I've ever encountered. And I have a feeling... if you could imagine a meteorite, but rather than coming from... What is it? Azir is space, right?
Yeah, Azir is space.
Rather than it coming from Azir, it's coming from wherever your kind, not to be crass, wherever they call home.
Indeed. So, you think they're just trying to put a big destructive rock through right in the center of the city?
And whatever's inside that rock, she says. It seems like an invasion.
I would assume so. That much warp stone hitting alone would poison everything in the immediate area and certainly empower any other activities that the Arcanists who showed up were going to do.
She's like, if some of my research with the 11th Dawn, they might be trying to, this might be the next stage.
So, how do we stop it?
Yeah, it's a good thing we found it.
Like, triumphantly, like, Lanissa finally holds up the perfect pipe, like... Plan B. Go ahead.
Miri just comes in with like a plethora of pipes, like all sizes, random objects, teddy bears, what everything.
Yeah, it's like Blade of the Immortal, where he's got like 12 swords. You know, like Miri just like drops all the pipes out. Sometimes I've found that Plan B is the best Plan A.
Okay, well, easy enough.
Plan Bash.
Yeah. You go to like smash the first thing. No, not there. Kidding. No.
Oh, it's specific smashing.
No. She extracts all the like the warp stuffs is specifically, and then from there it's like I'm gonna have to speak with the court. She said the court of I'm gonna have to speak with the troop. Well, yeah. Take it apart. She says we can't take chances with something of this scope.
So we're not smashing it.
Oh, we're smashing it.
She walks away without answering.
Yeah.
She's got... Yeah.
Break it up.
Pipe. Who wants the first pinata swing?
Yeah.
Ooh, me.
It is about at this point that that Fyrgrim and Bigwinter, like you catch just the faintest skitters of shadow and do a double take, but they are gone as if they weren't there to begin with. Something like 2-dimensional and then just gone, clinging to the sort of shadows of the cast by the the sort of setting sun thing.
So they know that we know. But still smashing it.
Yeah. Cut to, it's been pretty thoroughly smashed. Like there's just like a dust like just billowing out from underneath, like still, and the party's just like coming out from the front doors, like dusting their hands. Tamia is sort of standing up on like a, like up on a cart, like talking to like the troop and the people, and the troop goes over and like, you see one person dressed pseudo-jestery with like bright colors and frilly collar go over and like tear off a poster off the wall that says they're like tear down the big tapestry off the wall that says like when their debut night is.
We should double check.
Like, what was you gonna say?
No, please go ahead.
Oh, it was just like thumbs in the belt loop. Yeah, that's some good smashing.
We should make sure that that's their only play here.
Yeah, we got to be thorough.
Are there any other mechanisms in this place? What about above stage?
I mean, you do.
I imagine during the smashing. I imagine during the smashing with Lanissa not being like super strong, she's just up on stage, just cutting ropes and curtains willy-nilly, causing no actual destruction to the device she wanted to destroy, just causing mayhem because she thinks
you
it's
got to
something.
get it out, right? So.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
like the curtain falls behind you, in a visual metaphor.
Like sandbags falling.
Yeah, the sandbag hits and just.
So while we're smashing the device, you're recreating the.
Ruining it.
No, I was gonna say you're creating the most famous scene from 2003's Daredevil, starring Ben Affleck. You're like Elektra fighting the sandbags there with her size.
Yeah, to Evanescence, right?
Yes, to Evanescence, of course.
Yep.
All right, that's good stuff. Do you guys want to take a real quick intermission, sort of natural break point, and come back and restroom breaks and so on and so forth, and then
Sure, it's fine.
get back into it? Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Shame we couldn't let the play still happen, and then try to catch them in the act. But probably better to not let a city-destroying event happen.
Yeah. It'd be a hard one to fix.
Oops. We recreated more time. Whoops. The theater is now the pit of Weirdstone.
Anvilgard in the Mortal Realms shudder in fear in the Age of Sigmar community rejoices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. At More Time 2.0.
I was just worried because not smashing it felt too outside of our direct approach, so I just wanted to be as direct as possible.
No, it's fair. I mean, breaking it was definitely in our wheelhouse. No doubt about that.
I'm gonna drink water.
Tom, somebody asked you, do you think... I'm not sure what are you asking, King of Heretics? Do you think to go Admiral with Master Commander or Chemist with Collector? Oh, there you go. I think he's asking, yeah, KO. The item up is... Yeah. So Admiral... I think,
Admiral...
command traits. Admiral with Master and Commander or Chemist with Collector.
I mean, it depends on the rest of the list. Like, that's not an easy decision. Like, it really depends on everything else you're doing in the list. I know that seems like a cop-out. But it's hard to make a... Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
When would you go with the Admiral? What would be the type of list?
That's the Master and Commander. I believe that's the one that gives the command points. That's the one that gives the command points. I don't know. In Zilfin and in general, I wouldn't do that almost ever. Like, I'd always take other things. Chemist with the bonus item is always good unless you don't need those items. I know it sounds really weird, but yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I'm actually more favorable for the Navigator, who gives +3 movement if you want to do something unusual. Like, if you want to go a route that a lot of other people aren't going, I would consider something like that. Otherwise, I would consider doing the Endrin Master with Dirigible, and then give him the little like assassin ability, the ability that doubles damage against one target. So those are my two favorites in like Zilfin, for example. So I hope that helps.
Elf Joe says, "Can I just say I wish you would have leaned in for the kiss?"
That's for later.
You gotta build up to a scene like that.
He has a point.
Look, we have to leave some work for the fan artists, right?
Yeah, you gotta leave the... Yeah, everyone who's gonna make like weird fan art and headcanon for this whole campaign.
Checks out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh. All right. So, I kind of missed the tail end of what what you were going to do after you've successfully destroyed the thing. You looked for extra devices.
Yeah,
you find them.
They just searched the whole place. We'll just search the whole place and make sure that there's not a secondary mechanism or anything like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Skaven are pretty duplicitous and stuff like that. You don't really find any like secondary stuff. You have an understanding, though, that they might currently be doing some sort of like, quote-unquote, mining, you know? Like, they might actually be currently, like, mining their weird thing toward this point.
Right.
So, like, you understand that, like, they would probably have different punctures in, like, sort of like the timey-wimey, like, time space to, like, punch through in, at this point. So you have an understanding of that. You were like a storm vermin, so you'd have been like a shock trooper, right? Like, so.
Yes, correct. Okay.
So it's possible, like, I mean, they might without like the main big force thing, but like there could be a danger of like still like little like holes being punched in, and like they come in Skaven style and just do Skaven stuff. So you do, but no devices.
Okay, great. All right.
Tamia, upon sort of maybe gleaning this or realizing this herself, decides she's gonna drop a squad of Stormcast here anyway. So
yeah, 5-man unit.
Even
some battle line.
Mm-hmm. She gets some libbies in here.
Yeah, she's gonna set up a essentially 9-inch screen, right, to make sure that they can't pop out.
Shoot, no.
Oh, wait, she's bringing liberators here?
Gross. No. They just went down in points. They're good now.
They're all fixed. It's all fixed now.
Yeah, it's perfectly fixed. They're 10% cheaper. That's
Well,
fixed it right up.
well, she's got some judicators and liberators. I'd imagine that it is less, with the way the rules are written, like they're more archetypal than like you're necessarily the specific thing. There's variants. It's a small contingent. It really is about 5 Stormcasts though, and she just says, "Hey, watch the place."
Yeah, I assume the ones in this game are about as good as they should be, unlike the AOS.
I mean, look at the you know,
They are indeed 2 wounds.
Yeah. Just look at the rules for building a base Stormcast. Imagine that, but with a little bit more experience and training.
Pretty badass.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Soulbound Stormcaster for real. It's not you're a liberator. You're ready to crush some heads.
Yeah, you can actually liberate something.
Absolutely.
For realsies.
Yeah. These are Soulbound. I wanted to call them paladins. Space paladins. No, these are Soulbound Stormcasts.
Space.
So, yeah. There's 5 of them. Just 5 of them from generic wearing the Sigmar masks. Like,
Sure. I mean, in the same way that if you fight a Blood Warrior in this game, he's really ready to drop some pain.
right.
Whereas if you fight a Blood Warrior in AOS, it's like, oh,
Nah.
okay, sure, that guy, it's fine. All right. Okay, so this place seems clean. So what's our next lead? We got to track down whatever else the Syndicate, where they're at, and try to root them up. I think that's our next move. We need to figure out where they're operating out of.
Yeah, so you had this like sort of a time thing, this time sensitive thing. Like you have that just existing. You have, what is it? It's tonight, but you have a couple hours to burn between then if you want to do like the old school Cowboy Bebop walk around the streets, like gather information, right?
Yeah, what's our time sensitive thing? What's happening tonight?
You had a meeting that you figured out about a meeting that was going to occur at while you were.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Sorry, been 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I watched.
I thought you meant the play was still happening, and I'm like, a demon summoning isn't enough to cancel the play? How important is this thing?
Well, it's like the beach being open in Jaws.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The entire season's dependent on this. Okay.
We laugh about it,
or
but
public places for the first 4 months of COVID in real life, so I guess
Sure,
it's
yeah.
more realistic than we thought.
Yeah.
Sorry, horror movies. Sorry, I underestimated your plots.
Yeah, my whole life I made fun of horror movie logic, but it turns out it was more realistic than I thought.
At the minimum, while we've got Tamia and she's an expert, we'll show her the playbill with the cipher and see if she can like crack it or learn anything about it, or like see if we can get any kind of knowledge off of that. Maybe she can tell us where it's from or something about the cipher or anything. She's smart.
Yeah, I seem to be using a sort of Corsair's cant, she says, but I mean, that's the baseline of it. I mean, I'd have to study this, and the more of these you can get me, the better.
Okay.
Like, where you have portions of them interpreted, or if you find some playbills laying around with things circled, I've got a whole library, she says. I can maybe come up with something, but this is very reminiscent of Corsair cant, like some of the they would use to transmit their messages ship to ship, coded.
Well, I know just the person to ask about this.
Yeah. Captain Avender.
An actual Corsair, allegedly.
But as far as the particulars of it, and how they're picking every third word, or that would take some time. But she seems familiar with like some of the iconography and what they're using.
Well, can we make a copy of it?
There's magic, sure.
Sure. Yeah, easy enough.
Yeah. Just boop, got it.
Okay, cool. Well, do we want to go to... so, do we want to go see Avendir and see if he knows what it's all about before tonight?
Yeah, you go to like Arkinkos, which is like Arcane Kinkos, and you just get a copy of it made.
Checks out.
All right. Yeah, you get basically you can do research. You can do the like gather information, walk around the streets type thing. For information. What was it? Knowledge local was the D&D one that I just like thought was the funniest thing ever. Or Avender. You kind of have 3 avenues. In the time to be able to do that and still make the time.
Yeah, we can.
You can do
why
the
don't
other.
why don't we split up?
Code. Yeah.
Ooh.
Not that big a deal.
Yeah.
Like 2 of us hit the streets and 2 of us go see Avender with the message. There you go.
Yep.
Then we meet back up where we're supposed to be meeting tonight.
All right, I'm going to Avender.
I think you and Lanissa should both go to Avender. Fyrgrim and I will hit the streets.
Well,
We will indeed hit the streets.
I don't think we're going to actually punch anything.
Yeah, but when it comes to interacting with humans, Skig is probably the most useful.
It's weird, but yeah. He's very...
Steven is the most useful in the party.
And the thing that looks the most normal, that the dwarf is like the, it's not going... I mean, I'm sorry, Witch Elves probably are a little prickly to deal with in interactions.
we have a sharp wit.
But, nice.
Is your dagger say wit on the side?
Yes.
For hitting the streets, this is the ROLL playing side portion of it. So we're going to have, go ahead and roll a... Just checking to see if there's a slightly more relevant skill.
Yeah, there's not really a general sort of gather information thing.
Yeah, there's no knowledge local, which was one of my favorite knowledges in the entire... Because local traveled with you. And so I just assumed it was like Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah. I know a lot of locales.
Yeah, all the locals. Probably... I mean, there is an information gathering, or research skill, though, right?
Well, there's lore.
I think it's just going to be lore. I'll allow you to use, like, lore or guile, depending, though. Because guile, you got to be charming, too, like, talking to...
Sure.
It's the same 3 guys always playing chess in every town, wherever you go.
Yeah,
like, all of
That
them.
makes sense.
Yeah.
I would very much like to see if we can't get people to be more friendly and talking to us or whatever by, sort of, like, I'll be, making sure that we're, like, what we're trying to find out here is somebody who knows anything. And people are going to be reticent. Like, I don't expect the criminals to just talk to us, but other people who aren't criminals might know but be afraid. So I'm going to have, like, the Sigmar on full display. So I'll be healing people, helping people. Just, like, being very, what do I want to say? Beneficent as I walk through the streets, right? I don't mean that in any kind of, like, largesse way. Just, I'll be helping folks and then saying, like, we're trying to find answers to this. Have you seen anything?
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, like you'll like stop and like heal somebody, and then while you're in there, like kind of add in the like, hey, you know something about the thing, and
Right.
like sort of good cop, heel cop, right? Like you're doing that.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll allow you to both of you can roll lore or mind. I'm going to give you advantage so it's going to be 3s instead of 4s.
Cool. 4 successes.
Nice. 1 success.
Okay. All right. You also did hear some, and I know I kind of like hand waved over it because the joke was made already when you met Gustavio. But Gustavio said some specific places over the course of the interrogation. He mentioned the dragons, and he mentioned some you kind of hit some of those places too.
Yep.
So, we'll get back to that in a second. But so like we get the little montage of y'all walking through Anvilgard, Skig healing some folks, people like just giving you the dismissive, like, I don't want to talk to you. It is Anvilgard. It runs a little bit more like, chaotic neutral than like chaotic good.
Sure.
For
now.
Dun dun dun. You're gonna turn this city around. But Avender, the Devil Kashmir, is sitting there out in the bay, like familiar with its sort of smaller, single, rowy boat with like a single small mast type thing, the sort of invasion land break boat sitting there in the docks. You see that familiar older gentleman who is always there with a big white beard, white hair, kind of gangly, who always pilots it, sitting there, and the Devil Kashmir. Avender is not currently on the ship. He's at some gambling hall, and by so the bearded gentleman, he's at the Reaper's End or whatever, and just some tavern that has a particular reputation for lots of gambling and usually high stakes, right?
Real quick before we depart.
Yeah.
I know we've seen each other, but I don't know your name yet, and you're always rowing us out there.
Oh, it's Orman.
Perfect. He's human, right?
Yeah. I mean, appears to be anyway. He's not like rickety for as old as he looks. He's actually like really buff. like he looks gangly and stuff, but like he just has like there's something off about him. Is all I'm saying.
A chance to understand the Corsair coding, do you?
He just kind of gives you this like look. This it's like if I did, we both know that I can't tell you. It's like one of those.
Put a piece of paper in front of you. Could you tell me what it might say? Happenstance?
So one of the playbills, or like one of the brochures from the Dawn, or
the
whatever.
playbill. The playbill with the code written on it.
This play's shite, and he grabs a marker and looks like he's crossing out a bunch of stuff, and then just crumples it up and throws it. And then he gives you a wink.
I pull out a couple Alcogaranis and be like, "You should drink well tonight," and I go pick up the piece of paper.
He just kind of like does this like really awesome sleight of hand where he like grabs it and like strokes his beard, and then it's gone by the time he puts his hand back on the oars.
I pick up the crumpled piece of paper.
All right. It is. I'd imagine you kind of get around a corner and get away from the docks because it's all eyes, right? Like there's.
I'll give it to Bigwinter because no one's going to look at what an ogre has in his hand. No one's going to question. No one's going to stab.
Yeah, we gotta find a place to throw this away.
Yeah, littering's bad.
Like you see, like two of the hardest, most like uncouth, just surliest, dock hands in the world, and just like they're carrying stuff, and like one of them's currently like stepping on the head of an elf, and they just both like, yeah, littering is the worst, and they just like agree and gotta keep your docks clean, and they just go back to like pummeling and interrogating a guy whilst moving stuff and just being surly.
Like putting the boots to him, medium style. Keeping the docks clean is our responsibility.
Yeah, everyone, and then it's just everyone. Oh yeah,
we're all in this together.
I'm doing my part.
Yeah. There's someone mopping up a blood stain. Like they get it. You get away from the docks. You head to this Reaper's End or whatever. Myriad is with the party, or is with the street crew, because it's funnier for the montage if there's just this awkward like murder robot like standing there in the backdrop while you're being friendly. He just like looms over with this shadow that just stretches out over someone who's dying, looking up at this skeleton with a scythe as they get healed. Yeah. So you end up at the Reaper's End. You actually kind of catch Avender coming out of the tavern, like not wearing like anything. Like his boots are missing. His very awesome coat that's like super stylish. It's got the toggle, like the gold toggles and stuff is missing. His shirt is gone. Like the ring he has on like one of his fingers is gone. Like he's just, all he has is his like slacks and the rapier, the parrying dagger, and the pistol at the small of his back. And he's just like,
take out the burgundy coat and put it around his shoulders.
he has a coat and he turns to go back in. Like, I still have a coat, he says through the door. Do you stop him or do you let him go through?
No, he's a man on a mission.
All right.
Free coat.
He seems busy.
Yeah, all right. So he just disappears in the door, like half an hour later, comes back. He's actually like fully dressed and just like suckers. Like, lost the coat though, he says. You now, instead of just one finger, it just all the fingers are blinged out now.
You lost my gift to you. I see. Okay. All right.
I thought it was an exchange for whatever you're about to ask me. He says information has a cost. Let him
Yeah,
know.
and also time is money, so I think we're even.
He's like, I'll owe you one. You hear like it getting like you hear like smashing and punching begin to happen. He's like, we should probably go. Let's walk and talk. And so you sort of begin walking.
Drag by Bigwinter as I start pulling out my daggers. I hear fight.
Oh, Avender halts in his step. You pull out your daggers and you cut out a little bit. You hear a fight.
Oh, so I hear a fight going. So I pull my dagger. So Bigwinter has to physically just start dragging me away.
I don't think he would.
I listen to the fight inside. Is it the punching kind of fight or the stabbing kind of fight?
It's a good, honest fight between folk. You can hear like chairs smashing and like punching and stuff, and there's like an errant pistol shot, but it doesn't seem to like hit. You know, you don't hear the or like people. You know, just like the gun gets flung. You know.
So I'll pull her along and be like, it's a punching fight, not really a stabbing fight. Plus, we've been here half an hour already. You missed your window of opportunity to stab people indiscriminately. And yes, the ogre knows what that word is. My mind is two, thank you very much.
I sulk, but I follow along, putting my daggers away.
Well, that's the thing about the ogres are actually supposed to be super cunning if they could only ever stand still to like build culture and stuff.
Yeah, they've just been forced to be hunter-gatherers for 5,000 years instead of settle down and develop society and stuff. Yeah. So it's tragic. It's tragic.
Yeah. So y'all sort of walking along. And he's like, Bigwinter, Lanissa, and he's got that like playing it cool.
We got this.
Oh, you hand him the thing. As he like unfolds it, you can see rather. This is the. I mean, you see rather like plainly like the sort of like, the time, the date, attack. Like, it's pretty straightforward and difficult to misinterpret, and it basically tells you to go to the play and get ready to attack.
Can you give us any tips on cracking this cipher normally without having to ask your rogue guy?
he's
The
like,
cultists are using this, by the way.
it's it's not ours, he says. But, you know, you make it a point to understand the linguistics of cultures, as it were. And the Black Coil is a particular predominant culture here. This seems to be some sort of co-opting of their style. I do like how they carried the one here, though, he says. And he, looks a nice stylistic choice.
Yeah, the cultists we found failed to carry the one.
He's like, I've seen it going around a little bit, but it's always... I mean, it's really not adjacent to my business of, you know, adventuring. Honest adventuring. Well, so, I mean, is there more that you want me to have a look at, or more you need to know about it? He says, like I said, it seems to be... This is a dialect some privateers have been known to use. There's a variant on it, but it's plain as day. Like I said, you try to... On the seas, being able to interpret information is half of every battle.
You said it was from the Black Coil?
It's a variant on theirs. The Black Coils, of course, is the... They're not like me. I'm independent, as it were. They're the guild, I guess you could call it. They've got their fingers in everything. Anvilgard's got its council and so on and so forth. It's just an extension of the Black Coil. A puppet theater for pirates who want to keep their money. Allegedly. He's like, it's...
Interesting.
He's like, there's changes, though. So this is an old... You know... This is an old variant of it. So I'm guessing one of them, or someone who studied history, or someone with an IQ, or with a knack for history, studied up on it and changed it a little bit.
What do you know about the Crimson Water Company?
Not much. They're newer. Petty, but with a lot. He's like the kind of... We'll just put it this way. With a gang like that, quantity is its own sort of quality, and they don't got quality. But they do have a bunch of folk united under their banner of petty thievery and kidnapping. Not my kind of thing. Really unsavory. I mean, of course, if I were in that life.
All right.
Kidnapping, extortion are their main trade, he says. If you ask me, they're glorified cut purses. No, didn't even climb up like a proper ledgerman, he says, dusting his hands.
Any specific area of Anvilgard they seem to congregate?
They've got a couple of places in the dregs. I hear they he's like, really just a lot of slums. They organize. I'd be surprised if you were telling me that they've organized themselves into anything more substantial. Of course, I feel like you're telling me they have.
Well, maybe they have. Maybe someone else has paid them to. One of the two.
I'm sorry, you cut us.
The name keeps popping up as we go about our honest adventures.
I mean, they're ambitious. He said. He's like, they're quite ambitious, but I mean, this is... If you wanted to hire lackeys to carry out something and have them not ask questions, this is who you hire in our city. Because everybody else has something else, and everybody else already has existing obligations.
Are they part of some interconnected pirate groups such that if we, hypothetically speaking, just killed all of them and ate them, would that be like a bad thing, even though they're bad?
No one will miss the Crimson Water Company. I mean, I guess the rates will go up if you need somebody beaten up, because you'd have to hire someone slightly better at it, but...
So you're saying we'll be job creators?
I like how you think. Have you ever thought about getting into the trade?
All the time. Also, what's the trade?
Freelance transport of goods.
I like goods.
Photog business. Photog business sounds good.
This is what happens when the Soulbound splits up for 30 minutes. Half of
It
them
loses
become
its
pirates.
soul. Yeah.
Use muscle like you on board the Devil Cashmere, he says. And you're good in a fight, too. Also good at taming beasts. Really, why aren't you, why aren't you in the trade?
I decided to become trusted by the humans. And it required a lot of pounding bad guys and not eating everyone I saw. A lot of restraint, but it's been rewarding. I got Soulbound. Probably because I got Soulbound, I suppose. Skig's got this whole Sigmar thing. It's kind of interesting, but...
I suppose in another life, if where I dealt a different hand, and less daring, I would, less dashing, and overall intelligent and attractive, I probably would have went into the hero business, too. Look,
So, we have a side quest.
What's the side
Into the trade.
What's the side quest? To get into you become side pirates?
The side quest is kill everyone in the Crimson Water Company and boost the economy, the GDP, due to extra payments for kidnappings that the other pirates have to.
Yeah, if done
cover.
if done correctly, this will reduce the doom in the area by 1. If done incorrectly, it will increase it by 1. If you do nothing, everything is fine.
I like those odds.
Just a safe word. So I know when to stop killing. I need a safe word. Me and Bigwinter. So you say this word, I'll stop stabbing.
The safe word is, it's time to stop killing.
Okay. Simple. Easy. I got it.
Alvander now looks over to Lanissa and is like, you remember that Maw Crusher that chased us?
Yes.
I couldn't shake the notion that I might have spotted that its rider before, and it wasn't easy, but the orc riding it was named Vorgar Gortrain. It's orcs with names and reputations. Well, I think that really speaks enough. But when a former leader of a big war, kind of leaves his boys behind, I don't even want to think about what that means. But I think he found out you're an Anvilgard.
I feel somewhat of a kinship with this orc in a strange way. He's riding a Maw Crusher. I'm searching for a Stonehorn. He left his big Y. I left my Alfrestun.
His last name is Gortrain. Yours is Bigwinter. They have like a
Yeah,
quality
his
to them.
name is also impressive, but slightly less big. I look forward to someday eating him.
Point is be careful.
I think back to my last duel with an orc, and I just kind of take a closer step over to Bigwinter. Let's get a little closer to the bigger guy.
And last thing I'll say is you asked me something personal, he says. And he does that thing where like he looks like he's gonna like get super like emotional or something like that. And he just like still haven't heard anything. And he's just like he like grabs your hand and he's like still haven't heard anything. And just like roll an awareness. Just you.
Okay.
Just Lanissa? All right.
Just Lanissa.
1.
Your cloak feels ever so slightly heavier.
Oh, he put a tracking device on you. Oh, wait. Maybe we don't have the tech for that.
I go from a glare from reading what he said to a small smirk, sensing the change in my cloak. But I don't reach for anything yet.
Yeah. He's like, but that's all just rumors and stuff. I mean, what do I really know? Takes all my
Not
attention
much.
captaining a ship.
Yep. Yep, you're busy. I get it.
Right.
Too busy for me. But hey, we should go meet up with Sig and Fyrgrim.
Skig.
Who'd I say?
Sig, like a cigarette.
Sig. Sorry, Skig.
Or like Sigmar, abbreviated.
Yeah, it's almost like it's Skaven and Sigmar smashed together.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, there's just no time to get into the etymology of naming conventions.
Yeah, it's really names are. I mean, they're never important.
Yeah, names are never important, and there's never a meaning behind them.
Right.
Yeah,
They're never thought out. Yeah, there's no conventions. All right.
Someday you guys will crack the elaborate code of Bigwinter.
The
But for
door.
now, who knows?
Like you've made yourself like you've kind of managed to make it like a block and a half away from the tavern. When the door swings, like someone goes flying through the window, and then the door swings open. There he is, and they all point, and he's just like, Bigwinter. He like says like with like a proper, he's got the trifold cap with the plume, and he just like gives like the proper, or he hasn't been wearing it. He puts it on and gives the tip of it to you, and he's like. And he just runs. Like he goes to say something to Lanissa, and then he just runs. You see like a whole like group of folk come running past you. A dwarf like stops and looks up at like, which way did he go?
Who?
Come on, lads! And they just like run past you.
I was hoping you'd point so I could just point the opposite direction. Missed
Opportunity.
Opportunity, yeah.
Yeah, it's true. The party meets up just outside of. You said you were going
Should have lied to the guy. Oh yeah, I ate that guy. You guys can go home or whatever. Everything's fine.
What do you all do now? I mean, you
Yeah, we meet up outside the.
Yeah.
outside the location.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So Skig and Fyrgrim, you managed to kind
Did we
of
find anything?
So you managed to gather that the main focus of the Crimson Water Company has been essentially pushing a new drug.
Okay.
like they've been selling a new drug. They've been rather aggressive with it. And not in terms of like you're gonna take these drugs, but it's been a very aggressive like sort of campaign, putting it in with like your standard like not kind of a big deal sort of like spice, quote unquote, whatever the generic spices of the city. Just like, you know, pushing it and stuff like that. They've been recruited essentially as pushers. The kidnapping thing has been a common thread, but you find out that they've been kind of filtering them out of the city.
Okay.
They've been you had this like contingent left behind to like help with the sort of whatever this operation was that was going on, like enough to do that. The rest and the ones that you happen to sort of extricate from like the couple of like safe houses or whatever, we're just waiting to be essentially like trafficked off.
Okay. Do we find out how, like by boat or by land?
By boat, specifically by boat. And you find yourselves actually outside the docks right now, as like you picked a meeting place, obviously like not exactly where you don't want to have a conversation right that, so you meet off site and you're just a couple by a block or so. It's been by boat. You're with 5 full successes, you're fairly convinced that they are not operating for the Black Coil. They just it keeps coming up. This Black Coil thing keeps coming up. It becomes aware to you that because they are kind of like in the caste system of like criminals, like just the sort of like lowest you can be to be organized, like an organized crime entity, they get to kind of fly under the radar of the big of like the ones that are more important, which has been something they've been using aggressively with their with doing the crimes. The drug is very obviously related to the syringes, but has changed form. Something more palatable. Something like these sort of like vapor masks that you inhale.
Okay. So it's been refined in some way where it doesn't immediately cause rage zombification.
Right. And in real time, the word on the street moved fast that the play shut down. People in the know that you stumbled across in ways like that were apprehensive in ways to maybe talk to you and took some Fyrgrim finesse. They've moved to a different plan. You were unable to discern what.
Okay.
So that's kind of...
They've got some kind of backup. Got it.
Yep. Yeah, so they moved on to a plan B.
Okay. That's fine. We'll just need to figure out what that is. Put that in the to-do list.
All right. We're going to kind of get to this next sort of like cliffhanger, and then we'll leave it there, though. So...
okay.
You're at this sort of meeting point outside the docks when you see just sort of like backlit completely by the moonlight of, I don't know, whatever moon stuff. It's weird. The Azir rotating around Ulgu, or not Azir, Hish and Ulgu thing kind of is crazy with my mind. But there's a sweet moon for visual effect. So this huge sweet moon, it's like kissing the horizon. It takes up most of the sky. And,
I mean, there's probably a bunch of moons. It's the other planes.
Right. So there's
I mean, let's not get
13 of
crazy.
them.
Yeah, we're not Nebron. Let's not get crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But I would assume you see the other planes.
Yeah. They look like Venus and Mars and stuff, where you can pick them out of the sky.
Sure.
But like, there's you see like a big fantastical moon, like backlit, and you can see this sort of cascading, purple and green kisses of water, and you see this, what can only be described as like dreadnought kind of move into view, and just sort of like drop anchor out in the bay. The Devil Cashmere is no longer there. He went and he's smuggling hydras or something again. Who knows?
Sure.
And you see this thing.
When you say dreadnought, do you mean just like a big ship, or do you mean like an orc ship?
It doesn't look orky.
Okay.
But it's got that like flair for being awesome the way orcs do. It's like a heavy metal human ship, which could also be like a orc ship. It's a dreadnought. It's just a massive class, battleship type thing.
Okay.
It's got some flair for the dramatic in terms of like iconography. It's as close to orky as you can be without going, okay, that's an orc ship, we need to attack it. Okay.
Got it.
You know, it's heavy metal as hell. You can see this sort of like wave vest.
Subtle orkiness.
Yeah, subtle orkiness, exactly. You can see it belongs in a Jack Black video game, really. And you see that there's sort of like waycraft, sort of like drop down and then like actually like come out and like head in towards the docks. You can see the sort of ambient nightlife of the docks, the various like ne'er-do-wells of the evening, or people on the late shift just kind of keeping their heads down, doing whatever they have to do to get the heck out of here, seem to deliberately vacate the area.
Gotcha.
Okay. This is not a reverence, this is fear.
Yeah, sure.
Sweet.
Awareness? Everybody.
Sure.
We're 0 this time. 1, 2, 3.
Ouch. 2 for me.
Are these normals? Like force?
Yeah, just force.
3 successes.
Damn,
That-
son.
Dropping it like it's hot.
You just got
2
styled.
5s and a 6.
4. I got 4, 3, 2, and then what did Bigwinter get?
0.
Two, you see something take to the air from the dreadnought. Just to you, it looks like but a speck that moves in the opposite. It looks like a meteorite in the night sky, but going backwards. So you're just like something leaves, right?
Okay.
Can't make out any particulars. The 3 makes out it looks particularly draconic, like a winged thing leaves the ship. Lanissa, you specifically see Maw Crusher flying off the ship. Like you can make out the details. It's not just some blob with wings that flies up.
I elbow Bigwinter. I think that's the Maw Crusher that's chasing us.
And you see it kind of like fly up and like disappear into the night at some point, right? Because there's just no light to see it at some point, and it's up in the air.
Oh. Is it going toward or away from the city? Or we
It
can't
just
tell?
flies up and you can't tell. It just
Okay.
kind of takes off like a rocket on a bit of an angle, and then it's just gone in the night. Doesn't like fly immediately, over the water toward the docks. It just up and away. The waycraft sort of lands. There's the motion of activity, and you see a few cloaked individuals who look a little bit shorter than like average human height, like kind of just seem to like melt from a pair of crates that you just had like just shadows that weren't moving before, and like suddenly they kind of move, and there's just these two things that kind of move into view, and they kind of greet this larger individual. The only way to properly describe him is it is an orc who seems to think that like wearing a steel locomotive as full plate is the way to go. Like he looks like a World of Warcraft warrior in like full plate.
Sure.
He's not wrong. He is correct in his hypothesis.
Yeah. Sort of standing there, and then noteworthy. He's got these like sort of goggles up on his forehead, and just like a straight gash across his eyes, like where they should be. There are no eyes. It's just this scar that just goes across the bridge of his nose and cuts out where his eyes should be. You can see the little like sort of like little bits of tears at where his brow line would be, and the goggles are just up on his forehead.
So, shall we intervene?
It's time.
I believe we are going to intervene.
I used the opposite of the safe word on Lanissa, which is it's time to start killing.
I get it. I shout out, "You must be Gortrain!" towards him.
His head doesn't turn to face you, but his words do.
His words swerve over
Yeah,
to
they're just like his
You
voice.
put some English on him, yeah.
Yeah, you just put that CL and just his voice booms and like heads your direction, and you must be the problem I'm here to solve. And we're gonna go ahead and cut it there.
Okay.
Wait.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'll save the dig for next time.
Hey, I'm just saying, I've got the time if we want to roll this out. I'm good. I'm not going anywhere. But, whatever. You want your cliffhanger moment, that's cool, too.
I would enjoy. Go ahead.
I woke up at 4 this morning,
Oof.
so
Big oop.
I'm
Tom will
okay
sit on the
going to bed.
cliffhanger. There you
Yes.
go. That's fine.
I've got two people like fading a little bit on the energy scale, and I'm like, I want this to be awesome because it's like, yeah.
Hey, I'm down. Something to look forward to.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yep.
I mean,
Thanks, gentlemen.
Gortrain, the giant orc who is armored as if he were a living train. I like my bad guys terse. And so I appreciate this one.
Like,
Indeed. I also like that he took an axe to the face and it didn't hurt him much.
Yeah.
Clearly, that's like I feel like that's the weapon that struck there that would leave that indentation, and he was just like, meh, fine, whatever.
Yeah, and he's swerving his words so that he can look cooler.
yeah.
This all checks out.
I'm out. Good night, gentlemen.
Have a good night, buddy.
Gore train, my god.
Could we tell what the little guys were?
I assume like night runners.
Yeah, like, do they look like? I would assume Skaven and Grotz walk very differently.
It's Skaven. It's.
Okay.
I mean, you can know. Just from the mannerisms. I think you pick up on that. It's a pair of. It actually might not
Skaven
even
have a very even gait where they don't horizontally move.
Yeah.
Right, just their feet scoot. Whereas I would imagine goblins have more of like a
lurch and a wobbly, and
they wobble more.
Yeah. Yeah, I get you. I feel you. Also the fact that they just sort of like you've encountered like sort of versions of these before. Like you ran into like there's like it's like when the Foot Clan show up. They're just like they've got a je ne sais quoi about them that you're just like sure. Like I know.
Yep, right on. All right, good stuff. Good game.
Kicker.
Good to be back into it.
Gore Train has swagger. Like I get like a couple descriptors of Gore Train. He and the chat's just like, oh, the dude.
Got the goggles.
So it's a little on the nose to have him be like his breastplate looks like it. It's kind of got that scoop that point forward like it is
so with the axe.
Like a ram prow, but here we are.
I assume he's just killed Astro Train and is wearing him as armor.
Yeah, exactly. All right. I won't keep y'all any longer. Chat. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. And if you're watching on YouTube, remember click the little subscribe button, and then you can watch these episodes as they unfold throughout the months and weeks. Because this is a full 3-act thing. We're still in Act 1 essentially. So there's more story here to finish up. So click like and smash like and subscribe. I'm terrible at these calls to action. Go ahead.
Ring the bell.
Yeah.
Ring the bell. You got to ring the bell.
There you go.
If tell us in the comments what your favorite part of tonight was.
Ooh.
You're good at this, Chuck. You should be a formal content creator.
I try, but no one listens to my stuff. You guys listen to me. That's all I need.
Yeah, go watch Strength Hammer on YouTube. Listen to it. You also put your stuff up on the podcasts stuff.
Go watch Warhammer Weekly. Go follow Haywo on Twitter for his delightful fact commentary, and subscribe to Mephisto on Twitch.
Also, Twitch Prime.
That's all you need.
Twitch Prime. All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.